Hi, John. My name is Kevin Cougler. I'm the CEO and founder of STEM Camp. And STEM Camp is a summer camp where we do fun activities in science, tech, engineering, and math with kids.
And talk just a little bit about, you've been doing this for a few years and it's really grown. It's not just an Oxford County camp.
Yeah, STEM Camp was launched in 2013 in two locations, my hometown of Woodstock being one of them, the other being London. And the very first year we had 80 kids, and the camp sold out in a matter of days and maybe a couple of weeks, if I am remembering that correctly now. But it seemed to me at the time that that was a positive message, and the parents were looking for something that was maybe a little outside of the school system, where they could get some education to the kids during the summer, but do it in a fun way and in a fun environment. And so we kind of listened to those parents, and we started increasing the number of sites the next year. I think the next year we went up to 7 or 8 sites, and we had 700 or 800 kids. And I won't bore you with the statistics of every year, but right now STEM Camp is poised to enter into our 8th season. And we've pushed through over, I think it's 30,000 kids in the last few years. And until the coronavirus scare hit, we were on target for having our best year ever. And we already have 3,000 kids that have committed to this year. So we're pretty excited to move forward.
And now, in recognition of Corona, COVID-19, you're offering the community, you're reaching out to the community with some help for parents that might want to further their children's education while at home, correct?
Yeah, that's right. And I can give you kind of the genesis of how that all came about, John. We started sending home our staff about a week before other businesses did. And so we kind of saw this coming, and using other countries from around the world as our benchmark. So we thought we'd get out in front of it. And one of the things that we thought about was, well, how can we help? Because I mean, we're a summer camp. We're not frontline workers that are at the hospital. We don't manufacture respirators. We don't have financial resources where we can cut checks and that sort of thing. But we thought, what will parents need, during these 3 weeks and perhaps longer, that we can help provide? And if my own experience as a parent can be used as a way of measuring that, my son gets a little bored throughout the day, and his mom and I are doing the best we can to educate him, but he needs some distraction. He needs his recess time. He needs to do fun things, that involve education. And so we thought, well, that's a role we can play. Let's get some activities together that are fun. Maybe the parents can do them with the kids. Maybe the kids can do them by themselves, and we can give the parents a brief respite from being the teachers at home. So we thought that was a role that we could play, and we came up with the STEM Camp at Home initiative to address that.
And how do people access the STEM Camp initiative?
Yeah, well, we send it out to all of the elementary schools across Ontario. So we do that every morning. We also send it out to the 30,000 families that we have in our database. But beyond that, if you just go to our website, which is stemcamp.ca, and you click on the STEM Camp at Home title at the very top, you can access every day's activity guide.
And just maybe give us 1 or 2 brief examples of what people would find as that resource is available to them now. Yeah,
sure. I think the fun part of this is that we've provided some ways for parents to do some contests with their kids every day so they can win free weeks of camp. Some of the activities are kind of fun to do with your parents, like making maple syrup candy. And that, of course, goes across all age groups, because a 5-year-old and a 13-year-old love making candy. In fact, 49-year-old loves making candy. So that's great. Making your own lava lamp. And then some of the activities that we're doing kind of are in tie-in to the COVID-19 situation that we're in, such as we have a how to make your own hand sanitizer activity. And of course, the all-important one, how to make your own toilet paper at home. That's been very popular.
Brilliant. And just to clarify, I don't know if we really went over this, tell people what STEM is for people that don't know what STEM stands for. Because that's the push of what you're doing, correct?
Right. Yeah. So STEM is an acronym and stands for science, tech, engineering, and math. And I'll give you kind of the backstory on how this all happened. So several years ago, a report came out from the federal government that indicated that Canada was slipping in its world ranking in terms of being a nation that was able to innovate. And being able to innovate is really important, because if you can't innovate, then you can't create jobs, which of course helps fuel the economy. And what's the biggest thing that goes into being able to innovate and being an innovative nation? Well, it's graduating kids in STEM-based education and entering into STEM-based careers. And so, you know, even to use my own family as an example, when my son reaches the age where he's going off to university or college, or getting his first job in the workforce, 90% of the jobs are going to require STEM-based education. So we have to prepare our kids for that eventuality and for those days. And by doing so, we'll be able to help the Canadian economy at that point, and hopefully increase our ability to innovate on a global scale.
And you're still looking forward to a summer camp season or something happening?
I get asked that question every day by parents. You know, what's STEM camp going to do this summer? Um, and I think there's an awful lot of organizations out there that are pivoting and taking one approach or the other. I think my approach, and it's always the approach that I've been using as an entrepreneur for 25 years, is to be cautious, to be safe, but not to rush to any judgments. And so I'm very conscious that we're still in the middle of the government's plan of this 3-week shutdown. We still have to give the required number of days of isolation before we see what the effect of the coronavirus has had on the Canadian people. And until we actually give those plans of action that are put together by way smarter people and more qualified people than me, until we actually see what the results of those plans are, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions. I'm not going to cancel camp until we have that data. So in the meantime, my staff and I are working hard, as we always do, to secure our 55 locations. We've hired 250 summer staff. We've purchased well over $100,000 worth of materials to send out to camps. We are all into this, John. We are moving forward until we are told that we can't move forward. And at that time, we'll make some other decisions. But until then, we're not going to panic. We're going to keep playing the steady course. And when the time comes and we have to make a decision, we'll do that in the best interest of the health of the kids that attend STEM camp.
Great. Thanks a lot for your time, Kevin. I'm John Payne for Rogers TV.